Our founding fathers had a simple theory about human rights. They come from God and are given to each individual. They do not come from a monarch, no matter how good or evil he or she may be. Nor do they come from a dictator, no matter how benevolent or malevolent that dictator may be. Nor from an oligarchy, no matter how generous or miserly. And not even from an elected Democratic or Republican government, no matter how popular or detestable it may be. Now, our founding fathers were so confident of this notion that they gave us the Bill of Rights and started this important document with 5 freedoms listed in Article 1, namely freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, and the freedom of the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now that is the exact order in which our founding fathers placed them, and, I believe, for a very important reason. Here's why. Freedom of religion is the bedrock of all other freedoms. Without the acknowledgement of the Supreme Being, without the absolute authority of God over this planet and the inhabitants therein, there is no ultimate truth, and there is no unchanging guidelines for right and wrong. Without the acknowledgement of the laws of nature and of nature's God, the people are left to govern themselves according to the whim of whoever happens to be in power in the present moment, making for a very unstable world. John Adams, a signer of the Declaration of Independence and vice president under George Washington and our second president, said this: "Statesmen may plan and speculate for liberty, but it is religion and morality alone which can establish the principles upon which freedom can securely stand." Now, over the years, this first freedom has taken many hits, especially from the ACLU, who, in their twisted logic, believe that Article 1 promises freedom from religion. In their persistent attempts to rid our society of what they consider to be the blemish of organized religion, they have spent millions of dollars bringing all kinds of lawsuits against cities and counties, states, individuals, churches, synagogues, parachurch organizations, and others, causing these cash-strapped groups to spend millions of dollars defending their freedom in the courts. The ACLU has had substantial success in recent years, largely because of an increasingly intolerant Supreme Court. I'm talking about a Supreme Court that is intolerant of religion. Now I ask you to take a moment, my dear friend, and take a look at this little planet we call Earth, our little home here where we stay. Notice that the governments that protect religious freedoms are the one most likely to protect other freedoms, such as freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. And conversely, those nations that are more likely to be intolerant of religion or to forbid it almost completely or to restrict it to one or two religions, they're the ones that are also more likely to quash the other freedoms, freedom of speech and freedom of the press, etc. Now recently some Muslims had a prayer vigil in Washington, D.C. Remember that? It was just a few months ago when they had a meeting there in the mall, right in front of the Capitol building and between the White House and the Capitol building. They prayed on government property. They prayed without any fear of governmental intimidation or intervention or censure. And their event went off without incident. In fact, the police present at the event were there to protect their right to pray, not to prevent them from praying or to arrest them. Now I ask you a question. What would happen if a group of Christians in Saudi Arabia, and yes, there are some there, decided that one day they would like to have a prayer vigil in a very public place in Saudi Arabia, say in Riyadh, maybe on a lawn or a park somewhere in Riyadh? What do you think would happen to those Christians that showed up for that prayer vigil? Would the police be there to protect their right to pray, or would it be there to arrest them? You know the answer, don't you? Now, all of your freedoms, dear viewer, flow from this one right guaranteed to you in the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Don't let Congress or any other legislative body, branch of government, ever take it away. Ever. If you'd like a compilation of 10 freedoms, I'd be happy to send them to you free in an ebook form. Simply go to 10freedoms.com. I'm Ron Ross. Together, let's let freedom reign.